Look at him. Look at that guy. Didn't you miss him? Such a big, beautiful boy. A lot of Republican talking heads aren't happy he's running again. Yeah, because he divided the party in 2020. I mean, was slowly doing it before then, but like the final nail was the election denial stuff, right? And a divided party is not one that wins because you lose a lot of the center vote. Which is what happened during the midterms. Shush. Oh man, an hour and 4 minutes, everybody.
Well, thank you very much.
Volume?
And on
Volume check?
behalf of Melania, myself,
Good?
and our
Loud?
entire family,
Quiet?
I want to thank you all for being here tonight. It's a very special occasion at a very special place.
Very special.
You and all of those watching are the heart and soul of this incredible movement and the greatest country in the history of the world. It's very simple. There has never been anything like it. This great movement of ours, never been anything like it, and perhaps there will never be anything like it again. There's never been anything to compete with what we have all done. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and my fellow citizens, America's
fellow gamers.
comeback starts right now. Two years ago, when I left office, the United States stood ready for its golden age. Our nation was at the pinnacle of power, prosperity, and prestige, towering above all rivals, vanquishing all enemies, and striding into the future, confident.
That's exactly what happened.
So strong.
That's exactly what
In 4
happened,
short
actually.
years,
I was there.
Everybody was doing great. Men, women, African Americans, Asian Americans,
The three genders.
Hispanic Americans, everybody was thriving like never before. There was never
Hold on.
a time like this. Decades of globalist sellouts and one-sided trade deals.
Globalists.
Lifted millions
Wee
out
woo,
of
wee woo,
poverty,
wee
and
woo.
together we built the greatest economy in the history of the world. When the virus hit our shores, I took decisive action and saved lives and the U.S. economy. And by October of the same year, America was roaring back with the #1 fastest economic recovery ever recorded. How about that?
That was my doing, folks.
All of the incoming administration, and all they had to do was just sit back and watch. Inflation was non-existent. Our southern border was by far the strongest ever.
I
And
love
because
this is
the border
the
was so
Trump
tight, drugs
special
were
is
coming into our country at the
the
lowest
biggest,
level in
boldest
many,
lies.
many years. Importantly, after decades of rising energy costs, the United States had finally attained the impossible dream of American energy independence, which soon would have turned into energy dominance. For the first time in memory, China was reeling and
China.
back on its heels. You've never seen that before. because the United States was outdoing them on every single front, and China was paying billions and billions of dollars in taxes
Billions.
and tariffs. The farmers know that because they got 28 billion of it. No president had ever sought or received $1 for our country from China until I came along, and we were getting hundreds of billions of dollars. Many people think that because of this, China played a very
If this is so
active
true,
role
Mr. Trump, why in the
2020
fuck does
election.
everything
Just
still
saying,
suck
just saying.
if you took...
Sure, that didn't happen. Instead of
oh,
jobs
the
and
election, you know,
factories
oh,
leaving
whoa, it's
America for
crazy. It
China,
was, whoa, some
they were,
crazy
for
stuff
the
that
first
China
time
did.
ever, leaving China for America.
We've pivoted from blaming the
Businesses were
Democrats
pouring
to
back
blaming
because
China.
of our historic tax and regulation cuts, the biggest in both categories in history, bigger even than what Ronald Reagan was able to produce, and he produced a lot. China,
A lot
Russia,
of production
Iran, and North
from
Korea
those big
were in
Republican
check
balls of his.
and respected. They respected the United States, and quite honestly, they respected me. I knew them well. I knew them well.
He's blaming China for stuff before, too. Not the
The
election.
vicious ISIS caliphate, which no president was able to conquer, was decimated by me and our great warriors in less than 3 weeks, and al-Baghdadi, its founder, was hunted down and killed. North Korea had not launched a single long-range missile
Mass attacks against
since
Asian
my
Americans across the
summit
country.
with Chairman Kim
That was
Jong-un
xenophobia having to do
nearly
with
3 years
coronavirus.
before we developed a relationship,
Not
and that's a good thing.
election
not a bad
fraud.
thing. It's a good thing, very good thing actually. Because look at what's happening today.
Look
My
around,
opponents
folks.
made me out to be a warmonger and just a terrible person who would immediately go into war. They said during the 2016 campaign that if he becomes president, there will never be a war within weeks, and we will have wars like you've never seen before. It will happen immediately, and yet I've gone decades without a war, the first president to do it for that long a period.
I was the first president who served 4 years to go this long without a war.
The world
And also,
was at peace.
we're at war always,
America
also.
was prospering, and our country was on track for an amazing future because I made big promises to the American people, and unlike other presidents, I kept my promises. I kept them.
Oh? Did you? Promises made, promises kept, baby. I want it to be just Trump ice branded so bad.
Thank you very much.
It's the most built
Under
wall.
our
It's the most
leadership,
constructed
we were a great
pipeline.
and glorious nation, something you haven't heard for quite a long period of time.
The
We're a
swamp's been
strong
drained.
nation, and importantly,
Hillary's
we were
locked up.
A free nation. But now we
My
are
tax
a nation
returns
in
are out
decline.
there and available.
We are a failing nation. For millions of Americans,
Mexico
the
paid
past
for it.
2 years under Joe Biden have been a time of pain, hardship, anxiety, and despair. As we speak, inflation is the highest in over 50 years.
Crime,
Gas
inflation, crime,
prices have
inflation,
reached
crime,
the highest
inflation,
levels
crime,
in
crime,
history,
inflation, crime.
and expect them to go much higher now that the strategic national reserves, which I filled up, have been virtually drained in order to keep
I
gasoline
personally
prices
filled them up.
lower just prior to the election. Joe Biden has intentionally surrendered our energy independence. There is no longer
He did it
even
on
a thought of
purpose.
dominance, and we are now begging for energy help from foreign nations, many of whom find us detestable. Our southern border has been erased, and
Why
our
do they
country
think
is
that of
being
us,
invaded
Donald?
by millions and millions of unknown people, many of whom are entering for a very bad and sinister reason.
Inflation is
And
a
you know what
good
that
pivot.
reason is. We will be paying a
I don't
big
think they
price
lost
for this invasion
because of
into our country
them
for
hammering
years to come.
How much
Hundreds of thousands of pounds of deadly drugs, including very lethal fentanyl, are flooding across the now open and totally porous southern border. The blood-soaked streets of our once great cities are cesspools of violent crimes.
Oh man, the blood-soaked streets are cesspools of violent crimes. Source? Trust. I would be interested in seeing some statistics as to opioid drug overdoses in the past versus now. I have a feeling it's similar, if not lesser, than what it was over the past 15, 20 years. I'm personally, yeah, I just have a big 55-gallon drum filled with pig's blood, and I pick it up and slosh it around as a workout on public roads. Fentanyl literally killed my aunt, and I don't buy into the Republican image of fentanyl. It's just the new thing. It's just the new type of the same problem, right? It's not like people haven't been doing meth and heroin for the past 40 years, right? But this one's really bad.
Which are being watched all over the world as leadership of other countries explain that this is what America and democracy is really all about. How sad. The United States has been embarrassed, humiliated, and weakened for all to see. The disasters in Afghanistan, perhaps the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, where we lost
the disaster
lives,
in Afghanistan is the most embarrassing moment in our country's history.
$85 billion worth of the finest military equipment anywhere in the world. And Ukraine, which would have never happened if I were your president,
love this
or
one.
Something.
I would have stopped it. Folks, trust me, in this hypothetical universe that doesn't exist, I would have stopped it.
And even the Democrats admit that. That's something I've seen them admit over and over again.
Folks, everyone is saying this.
But
okay, imagine a universe where Biden served from 16 to 20, and then or rather, let's just say under Trump, the Ukraine war started, and then under Biden was the onset of COVID, right? Would he be saying that, like, folks, I never would have let COVID get this bad. Look at all of the deaths under Brandon. So many deaths, so many senseless deaths due to a preventable virus. Just take the vaccine. It's so easy.
our enemies are
just whatever the other guy did, trust me, I would have done it better.
Because of those two events. But there are many more. Even just today, a missile.
National Institute of Drug Abuse has a chart showing opioid deaths spiking pretty high in 2017 or
50
so.
miles into Poland, and people are going absolutely wild and crazy, and they're not happy. They're very, very angry. Now we have a president who falls asleep at global conference, but our enemies are speaking of us with scorn and laughter and derision because of those two events. But there are many more. Even just today, a missile was sent in, probably by Russia, to Poland.
There's the qualifier, at least.
And people
it wasn't Russian, as it turns out.
Wild and crazy, and they're not happy. They are very, very angry. Now we have a president who falls asleep at global conferences. Was held in
those guys are plants. That was not that funny.
British Parliament over Afghanistan. Thanks to the words of wisdom, he said thank you to the wrong country for inviting him to a major summit on the environment of all things. They fly
I
for
hate the
days to
environment.
get there, and then he calls the country a name that was actually a country on another continent. And he's leading us to the brink of nuclear war, a concept unimaginable just
Folks,
2 short years ago.
this guy, he doesn't even
Cannot
speak
mention the
that
nuclear
great
word.
sometimes,
It's
folks.
devastating. The Green New Deal and the environment, which they say may affect us in 300 years, is all that is talked about, and yet nuclear weapons, which would destroy the world immediately, are never even discussed as a major threat. Can you imagine? They say the ocean will rise 1/8 of an inch over the next 200 to 300 years. But don't worry about nuclear weapons that can take out entire countries with one shot. Something is wrong with their thinking. Under Biden and the radical Democrats, America has been mocked, derided, and brought to its knees, perhaps like never before. But we are here tonight to declare
We're the weakest
that
we've
it
been in
does
the
not
history of our
have to be
nation.
this way. It does not have to be this way. Two years ago, we were a great nation, and soon we will be a great nation again.
But we are no longer. He's really went and messed it up, what with having Roe v. Wade overturned, and I don't know, making the post office vehicles run on electricity instead of great American gasoline.
This is not a fate we must accept. When given the choice, boldly, clearly, and directly, I believe the American people will overwhelmingly reject the left's platform of national ruin, and they will embrace our platform of national greatness and glory to America.
Our policy's good, their policy's bad. We don't really need to go into details about what they are.
Exactly 1 week ago, our citizens voted in the important midterm elections, and despite a ridiculously long and unnecessary period of waiting, far longer, in fact, than any third world country, just a short time ago, the Republicans won back control of the House of Representatives.
Compared to, what, New York City?
And it was with a great Trump-endorsed candidate, Congressman elect Kevin Kiley,
as though anyone on Earth is going to send fucking missiles to the United States
and I'm very happy
and have it prove successful.
That did it. But we now won back. This happened just an hour ago. Much criticism is being placed on the fact that the Republican Party should have done better, and frankly, much of this blame is correct. But the citizens of our country have not yet realized the full extent and gravity of the pain our nation is going through, and the total effect of the suffering is just starting to take hold. They don't quite feel it yet, but they will very soon. I have no doubt that by 2024, it will sadly be much worse, and they will see much more clearly what happened and what is happening to our country, and the voting will be much different.
Trump's thing that he always does, he speaks extremely vaguely and lets you fill in. He lets you fill in the rest. It's a shame what's happening to our country. And then I just think, what don't I like right now? And that's what he's talking about. You know, actually, it is pretty fun. It's a shame what's happening to our country. North American League of Legends teams need to get their shit together. We got embarrassed again this year by the Chinese. It's a fucking shame what's happening in our country.
24.
He's right.
Are you getting ready?
Oh, Jesus.
And I am too. I am too.
This time for sure.
I do want to point out that in the midterms, my endorsement success rate was 232 wins and only 22 losses. You don't hear that.
I want to fact check on this so bad. Because it's not true, but I want to know by how much. Because if his endorsements were that good, if he could just wave the magic wand and make somebody win an election, then why did they lose all of those elections?
From the media. And this is an elegant night and an elegant place, and I'm not going to use the term fake news media.
Hey, news.
So we're going to keep it very elegant. But you don't hear that from the media, but I think you will, because people
Did
are
Trump
starting
ever,
to see what happened. That's some score, and in the primaries was 98.6%.
Did he ever offer what he was going to do about the fake news whenever he was campaigning on that in 2016?
The success and that unprecedented success rate is that the Trump administration changed our nation on trade, on securing the border. We're the strongest, safest border ever in the history of our country. On Islamic terrorism, we had practically, just about, not that I can think of, no Islamic attacks, terrorist attacks during the
Trump ended terrorism.
And in fact, we got along very well with the various countries.
Remember when he was personally taking credit for defeating ISIS?
The Abraham Accords. It's a great thing, the Abraham Accords.
There's no more terrorism.
But it's because
Thanks,
of cutting
Donald.
taxes and cutting regulations at the highest level ever, and on building the greatest economy. Any time in the history of the world, there's never been an economy like we had just 2 years ago. Despite the outcome in the Senate, we cannot lose hope. And we must all work very hard for a gentleman and a great person named Herschel Walker, a fabulous human being who loves our country and will be a great United States Senator. Herschel Walker, get out and vote for Herschel, and he deserves it. He was an incredible athlete. He'll be an even better senator. Get out
For sure.
and vote for Herschel Walker.
I was an
We
incredible
elected a
gamer.
group
I'll
of
make an even
incredibly
better brain
talented
surgeon.
America First leaders
Vote
who
me
will be
for your
stars of our party
operate
for many years to come.
on your
popular
malignant
vote,
tumor.
Another thing that's not discussed for the House. We must remember that Republicans won 5 million more votes, the largest margin in many, many years.
We're gonna scrub
over
for
the
sound bites
Democrats.
after.
5 million more votes. That's a big thing.
I mean,
Breaking the
I
radical
only
Democrats' grip
if I
on
hear something funny.
Congress was crucial. So in other words, because of our great congressmen and all of our great congressmen and congresswomen, we have taken over Congress. Nancy Pelosi has been fired. Isn't that nice?
Yeah, woo! Oh, yeah, our party's we have the House now. All right.
I told them, I said, if you just keep a little bit lower standard, you're going to have a big victory. They said, let's win by 40 seats. Let's win by 50. I said, if you win by 2 seats, be happy. But she's on her way to another country right now. She's been fired.
They also endorse candidates in areas. I
But
mean,
we
yeah, the thing is
always
about
have
endorsing
known
somebody is that, like,
this was
if I
not the
endorse
end.
Marjorie Taylor
It was
Greene and she
only the
wins by
beginning of
fucking
our fight to
45
rescue
points,
the American dream.
and then I go, it was
It's
all
a word
me.
you don't
You're welcome.
use. 2 words. I don't want to
I'm like,
be
it's a
Joe.
fucking
It's 2
slam
words,
dunk, of
American
course.
dream. That was not good what he did. There are a lot of bad things, like going to Idaho and saying, welcome to the state of Florida. I really love it. In order to make America great and glorious again, I am tonight announcing my candidacy for President of the United States.
Shocking. MAGA 2? No, it's MAGA 3, partner. This is going to be the 3rd time that he campaigns for presidency.
So many incredible friends and family here tonight. It's such a beautiful thing. Some people say, how do you speak before so many people all the time? When there's love in the room, it's really easy, if you want to know the truth. It really is. You ought to try it sometime.
My favorite part about looking at Trump is
Together
looking
we
where
will be taking on the most
tan
corrupt
ends
forces
and the real
entrenched
Donald skin
interests
begins.
Imaginable. Our country
Around
is
his
in a
ears, mostly.
horrible state. We're in grave trouble. This is not a task for a politician or a conventional candidate. This is a task for a great movement that embodies the courage, confidence, and the spirit of the American people. This is a movement. This is not for any one individual. This is a job for tens of millions of proud people working together from all across the land and from all walks of life, young and old, black and white, Hispanic and Asian, many of whom we have brought together for the very, very first time. If you look at the numbers, if you look at what's happened with Hispanic, with African American,
if you look at what's happened with
Asian,
Hispanic,
and just look at what's happening, this is a party that has become much bigger, much stronger, much more powerful, can do much more good for our country. This is a job for grandmothers and construction workers, firefighters, builders, teachers, doctors, and farmers who cannot stay quiet any longer. You can't stay quiet any longer. You're angry about what's happening.
Gamers, rise up.
Our country is being destroyed before your very eyes. It's a job for every aspiring young person and every hard-working parent, for every entrepreneur and underappreciated police officer who is ready to shout for safety in America. The police
underappreciated police officers.
These are great people. They can straighten out the crime. They're the ones that know how to do it. We have to give them back their respect and their...
Police literally do not solve crime. Police make crime. The more police you put in an area, the more crime there is. It's so, like, without police there is no crime. That's pretty, that's because that's how we record the fucking stats.
Dignity.
I can't believe Brandon is solely responsible for people not liking cops.
This will be our campaign altogether.
That sounds like communism to me.
Because the only force strong enough to defeat the massive corruption we are up against is you, the American people. It's true. The American people, the greatest people on earth. We love them all. And we love both sides. We're going to bring people together. We're going to unify people. And it was happening in the previous administration, previous to the previous. And what was bringing them together was success. Prior to COVID coming in, the people were calling me, were calling me. You wouldn't believe it. People that were so far left, I figured they'd never speak to me and I would never speak to them. But our success was so incredible, like never before. And then COVID started coming in from China. We call it the China virus. Some people call it other things. But it was devastating, and we built it back and did an incredible job. But when
is this
people
Trump backing down
Republicans
from
or
saying Kung
Democrats or
flu?
liberals or
He said it in the past.
I say we could all get together. And we were doing that. That was happening just prior because the success was greater than this country has ever had. We were leapfrogging China and leapfrogging everybody else, and everybody wanted a piece of it. But just as I promised in 2016, I am your voice. I am your voice. The Washington establishment wants to silence us, but we will not let them do that. What we have built together over the past 6 years is the greatest movement in history because it is not about politics. It's about our love for this great country, America, and we're not going to let it fail. I am running because I believe the world has not yet seen the true glory of what this nation can be. We have not reached that pinnacle, believe it or not. In fact,
how high can we
can
get?
Go very far. We're going to have to go far. First,
can we get
have
much
to get
higher?
out of this ditch. And once we're out, you'll see things that nobody imagined for any country. It's called the United States of America, and it's an incredible place. We are Americans, and we do not have to endure what has taken place in Washington, D.C. This is our country, our government.
The swamp is it's out of there this time, and I mean it.
They're our Carters. They're not their Carters. These are our Carters. And we are coming to take those Carters back. So from now until Election Day in 2024, which will come very quickly, we'll go, look at how time flies. Look how fast it's all going. I will fight like no one has ever fought before. We will
including myself
the
in the
radical
past.
left Democrats that are trying to destroy our country from within, and likewise protect us all. We want to protect us. We have to be protected from all of those nations out there that are looking to destroy us from beyond our shores. There are lots of nations that hate us
Beyond our shores.
gravely. And that's the problem.
The world is
They
out
look
to
at
get
us
you
in
folks, and if
disarray
you
like we
don't
are right
elect
now,
me,
when
they're
we go to
gonna
them
go
begging
through with
for
it.
oil, and we have more liquid gold under our feet than they have or any other nation has.
Liquid gold.
And we don't use it because we're going to them. It's crazy what's happening. We can't let it continue. Joe Biden is the face of left-wing failure and Washington corruption. He had a
Noted
big
left-winger
G20
Joe
dinner
Biden.
tonight. Everybody flew over to wherever they flew over, and guess what? He never showed up. They're still looking for him. What's going on? G20, I used to love that. The leaders, they used to make deals for our country like you wouldn't believe. It was one, give me the next one, give me the next one.
Making
And we
deals,
got
cutting
them to stop
deals. Me, the
taking
deals guy.
advantage of our country. Every nation took advantage of our country. We renegotiated deals with Mexico and Canada, USMCA. We got rid of the worst trade deal ever made. Ever made, NAFTA, the worst trade deal ever made. That's why the farmers love Trump, because we did a great job, but manufacturers also. And we did a deal, we restructured our terrible deal with Japan, and I did it with Prime Minister Abe, a great man who unfortunately is so sad. He was a great friend of mine, but a great man, loved his country so much, but we restructured and made it a really terrific deal, and with South Korea and so many other countries. And the best of all was what we did to China. We made an incredible deal, but after COVID, I don't even bother talking about it because the devastation that caused for the entire world was too much to bear. I will ensure that Joe Biden does not receive 4 more years in 2020.
2020.
Can't do it. Our country could not take that. And I say that not in laughter. I say that in tears. Our country could not take 4 more years. It can only take so much. It's all very fragile to start off with. It can only take so much. In 2020, I received the largest number of votes of any sitting president in history by a lot. And we will do it again, but with even more votes this time.
It's such a funny stat.
Many have noted that
I received the most votes of any sitting president.
Latino voters, and I
but
believe
unfortunately, it was
set
not as
even
much
greater
as my
records
opponent.
With this crucial vote in 2024, the Hispanic voter, the Latino voter, has been unbelievable. Great people, very entrepreneurial people, and they want security. And everyone thought when I did the wall, I built the wall, and they thought, oh, that would hurt
I did
me
it.
with the
I built
Hispanic
that wall.
vote. No.
But there's such a crisis at the southern border still.
They wanted security. They
but I built the wall.
The border better than anybody else. So they were amazed that we started that trend, and now we're continuing with that trend. You look at what we've done in Florida, what everybody's doing now in Florida and Texas, along the border in Texas, won every single community. I won every single community. Governor of Texas called. Great gentleman, just got reelected. And he said to me, I'd like to talk to you for a second. Why? He said, you've done something that nobody else has done. You've won every single area along the borders, the longest since Reconstruction. I said, Reconstruction? I guess you call that the Civil War? That's what I call it? That's what I call it. Governor Abbott, very good man, and he's working hard, but it's horrible because what's happening is they're just sending hundreds of thousands of people right through his state, right through Arizona, right through all of the states. What's happening is they're coming up all of the states.
Still,
and we can't have it anymore.
after
This
all these
campaign,
years.
will be about issues, vision, and
I'll get it
success,
right in
and
these
we will
4
not
years,
stop.
and that's
we will
on
not
God.
quit until we've achieved the highest goals and made our country greater than it has ever been before. And we can do that. We can do it. Our victory will be built upon big ideas, bold ambitions, and daring dreams for America's future. We need daring dreams. It is not enough merely to complain or oppose. We don't want to be critics. We don't want to be complainers. I never wanted to be a critic. I never respected critics. They tell people what's wrong, but they can't do it themselves. We will win because we will fight.
I don't like receiving
with
criticism,
every measure of our strength,
especially
and with
whenever I do
every
something
ounce
wrong.
of our energy to lift up the working men and working women of America and to restore the fabric of this nation. The radical left Democrats have embraced an extreme ideology of government domination and control. Our approach is the opposite, one based on freedom, values, individual responsibility, and just plain common sense. It's common sense.
I love it. Yeah, baby. We're the common sense party. Just think about it, man. Like, come on.
In 2 years, the Biden administration has destroyed the U.S. economy, just destroyed it. With victory, we will again build the greatest economy ever. It will take place quickly. We will build the greatest economy ever.
So fast, so awesome.
And if you remember, I did it twice. I did it before COVID and then handed off something where the stock market was higher than just prior to COVID coming in. And we did it twice. And we.
You guys remember how that was achieved, right? Do you guys remember how that was achieved? I'll tell you. I think it was some $3 trillion or something that got printed by the federal government and just infused into the stock market in order to keep it propped up while the economy was crashing. We printed a fuck ton of money. We just printed so much money. And then we printed a smaller amount than that. It was some 100 billion number. And that was for other stimulus like the direct checks and the rent moratorium and PPP loans. That got forgiven.
We will do it again, but this time we'll do it bigger, stronger, better than anybody can even imagine. And one of the beautiful things of the pause, if there is such a thing as a beautiful thing, but one of the important factors of the pause is that we see how bad they've done. So we will be able to do it properly, and it will be much easier. Everybody will agree with us because everybody sees what a bad job has been done during this
bad
2-year
job,
period,
Brandon. That's
and
what they call him.
A 4-year period. Everybody sees that. It will be much easier for us to do what has to be done.
Bad job, Biden. It sounds like a Trump tagline.
We will
doesn't
immediately tackle inflation and bring down to a
If
level
he ends up
that it
using
was,
that,
you know,
I
we were
called
at
it. I'm just
zero.
saying.
But actually, the best number is 1%. Do you know that? You don't want it really zero. But we were at zero. We actually got it to exactly 1%, the perfect number. One thing every economist agrees, don't have it zero, have it like at 1%. They even say 1 to 2, but I said, let's do 1. And we had it at 1%, and we had it there for a long period of time, and we had the value of the dollar. We had it so that this country could make a lot of money, and I fought other countries where they devalued their dollar, or they devalued their currency, whether it was the pound or whether it was the yuan or the yen. And I used to fight like cats and dogs with the leaders of other countries because they were stealing from us. When they did that, they had artificial devaluations of their currency. It's a very important thing. I haven't even heard it mentioned in 2 years. That's a very important thing. It's very hard for us to compete when they do that artificially. And they had to pay a big price when they did it. And they never really did it for very long. I said, we're not going to do business with you anymore as a country. And they believed me. And they let it go back up.
3.87% inflation
Instead of
between
putting
2016
America
and 2020.
last, as the Biden administration has done very, very openly and bravely, because I can't imagine saying, let's put America last. I think
Funny how
it
the
takes
pound
courage.
plummeted.
We will
Yeah,
again
let's do Brexit
put
too.
America first.
This time, Scotland leaves the UK.
Every policy.
Brintrance.
Thank you very much. We do love our country, isn't it? That's why we're here. I didn't need this. I had a very nice, easy life. This is something I didn't need, and a lot of you people don't need either. But we love our country. We have to take care of our country. We have to save our country. Every policy must be geared toward that which supports the American worker, the American family, and businesses, both large and small, and allows our
UK
country to
gives
compete
Scotland
with other
$44 billion
nations
a year.
on a very level playing
part of
field,
the
which
UK.
we never had until I came along and the Trump administration.
Is that not
came
like saying
along,
that
and
like
now we're
the
losing it.
United
They're
States
moving
gives
back into
Texas
China. They're moving back into these other
$250 billion
countries. It's
a
horrible.
year?
That means low taxes, low regulations, and fair trade.
Whenever people
much
are part of
which I've
the
already
federal
completed,
government, you give
but
money
now
to
will
everybody to do shit.
even greatly enhance. Other countries should pay for the privilege of coming into the American marketplace. They have to pay to come into our country and make all of that money, take it away from us.
They're
And
taking
thanks
our
to
money.
the Trump administration, still the best and the biggest country in the world is what we have. We have the best and the biggest. If you remember, for many years, you can look in your projection books.
Taxes
China
on
was
us
gonna take
bad.
over from us as
Taxes
the
on
largest
everybody
economy in
else,
the world
good.
in 2018 or 2019. I said, I don't like that timing. And I was with President Xi, who's now president for life. I call him king. He said, no, I'm not the king. I said, yes, you are the king. You're president for life. It's the same thing. But I said, President, you can't do these things. You can't. Remember, they had China 25. That means China was going to take over virtually the whole world economy by 25. I said, that's not a nice sign. I don't want that sign. They took it down. They took down the whole slogan. Probably will be coming back at some point in the near future. But I found it very insulting. I said, I find that very insulting. On day one, we will end Joe Biden's war on American energy.
I love how passing a piece of legislature that creates energy jobs is seen as a war on energy. The spin is so awesome. I just don't know why we don't burn unleaded coal anymore, you know? It's just like,
And you
why
will
did we do away with
see when
that?
that happens.
Why is
you will
gasoline
see
the
energy
magical
costs
energy
come down.
source?
And because energy is so big and so important, you will see inflation dropping. You will see it come down. It's a thing of beauty, and you wouldn't
Why do
think
we
it's
hate
that
electricity?
complicated. Now, what has been complicated a little bit is what's happened to so many other things. I believe originally started by this energy disaster. We were $1.87 a gallon for gasoline, and now it's hitting $5, $6, $7, and even $8, and it's going to go
$9,
really bad.
$10, $11.
The
Do I hear
socialist
$12,
disaster known as the
$13,
Green New
gasoline
Deal, which is
$14.
destroying our country, and the many crippling regulations that it has spawned will be immediately terminated so that our country can again breathe and grow and thrive like it should. It's very, very much hurting our country. Germany tried it, Germany tried it. They were up for about a year. Remember I sent to Angela. Remember Angela? Do you remember
Angela.
Nobody's remembering her now. Angela Merkel, I sent her a white flag of surrender. She said, but why do you send this to me, Donald? I said, Angela, I send it to you because this is a flag of surrender. You are getting 78% of your energy from Russia. And when that happens, history has proven that it's not good for Germany. Just take a look over the last 150 years. It hasn't been good. What I didn't know would take place so fast. And Germany closed, as you know, all of its coal-powered plants and its nuclear plants. They closed everything, and now they're building coal plants, and they're building them fast. And China's building a coal plant every week. Every week they open up another, and then they talk about all of the things that they do environmentally. They are watching us die with the Green New Deal, with our windmills and with our solar that doesn't have the power to fire up our great factories and our great plants. They are watching us die.
Our great factories, our super great factories that we have a lot of.
Economic security is
as much as they ever were.
Security, and that's what it is. We need economic security. That is why we will launch an all-out campaign to eliminate America's dependence on China. We will bring our supply chains, which are a disaster right now. You can't
was the Green
get
New Deal
anything,
even passed?
Good luck getting a turkey for Thanksgiving. Number one, you won't get it, and if you do, you're going to pay 3 to 4 times
packaged
more
as a part of the Big Build Back
but we
Better
will bring
plan.
Our supply chains and
in essence, and
manufacturing
then
base back home.
That was renamed
to
the Inflation Reduction Act
and we will
to make it sound
bring
spicier.
back wealth, health, and success to the
so
American
in essence,
middle class
yes,
and to America itself.
As all legislature ends up being, it was a watered down version of the original proposal, but still considered to be the largest
sit down. I
piece.
feel so guilty having you stand.
The largest piece of
No.
renewable energy legislature
Now, you've been
passed
standing
in the world.
for the whole event. I feel very guilty. I don't want that to happen. To every worker and family struggling to survive in the Biden economy with inflation destroying your family and your life, this campaign will be for you. Help is on the way. Joe Biden has abolished America's borders. We are going to restore and secure America's borders just like we had them before. Best ever.
Oh,
we
really?
built
Like
the wall,
done, dude. Fuck.
and now we will add to it. Now, we built the wall. We completed the wall, and then we said, let's do more, and we did a lot more. And as we were doing it, we had an election that came up, and when they came in, they
might not
had
have
3 more
time for the
weeks to
Christmas
complete
movie
the
after all.
additions to the wall, which would have been great, and they said, no, we're not going to do that. And that's when I realized that they actually want to have this disaster known as open borders. Hard to believe, isn't it?
Big wall,
But one
big
of the
huge
reasons
wall,
we
open
had
borders.
so much success at the border was because of the fact that 2 things. We got Mexico to give us free of charge 28,000 soldiers. That helps. And President of Mexico is a great gentleman, by the way. Socialist, but that's okay. You can't have everything. But he's a great man and a great friend of mine. But 28,000 soldiers while we were building the wall. And
Socialism,
then when the wall
Mexico?
was finished, that's how we
I
set
don't know
all
dick
these
about the
records. We have
the
records
policies
that
of
nobody can
current
compete
day
with right now.
Mexican
it's a
politics.
disaster. I believe it's 10 million people coming in, not 3 or 4 million people. They're pouring into our country. We have no idea who they are and where they come from. We have no idea what's happening to our country. We're being poisoned.
What the heck's going on?
Inauguration, catch and release will be gone forever. Remain in Mexico. Remain in Mexico, which was so important. Everybody came in here, they remained here, and they never left. You couldn't get them, you couldn't find them. I had a policy, remain in Mexico. And if you think it was easy for me to get the president of Mexico to agree to that, it wasn't. But we got it. And they terminated it, can you believe? So now they come in here, they stay, and we have no idea where they are. They get lost. And it's very dangerous for our country. And again, I'll say, we're going to pay a big price someday for what they're doing. We will begin the process of safely removing the illegal alien criminals that have been unlawfully allowed into our country. We have no choice.
Which we were unable to successfully do in 2016
security,
and
we will stop the
2017.
flow of deadly drugs and horrible human trafficking, which both have been set upon us like never before. The human trafficking, you think of it as an ancient thing. It's not ancient. Because of the internet, human trafficking is worse than it's ever been in history. And we stop them at the southern border, which is the #1 port all over the world, the southern border. So much comes through the southern border. #1 port, and we stopped them, and now it's at levels that are many, many, many times what it was just 2 years ago. Biden and the radical left had let loose on this total breakdown of law and order. It was a total breakdown of law and order. I will restore public safety in American cities and other communities that need our help. And if they don't want our help, we're going to insist that they take our help this time. Because, you know, the Democrat governors, these are all Democrat cities. The governors and mayors are supposed to ask for the help, and they would never ask for the help. And yet people are being shot and killed at random like nobody's ever seen before.
It's random, just totally willy-nilly.
National Guard in Minneapolis and in other places. In Seattle, we went and we were getting ready to go, and they took over part of the city. And the governors, the Democrats, don't want to ever ask to do anything because they don't want to shake things up. In the meantime, the cities are rotting. And they are indeed cesspools of blood. So we're going to go and help them even if they don't want the help. We will give our police back
Anyone
their
live in a
authority,
city?
Resources, power, legal protection, and
one of them
we will
blue
give
ones
them back their respect. They're great people. And I will immediately launch a no-holds-barred national campaign to dismantle the gangs and clean out the nests of organized street crime.
This just kind of sounds like a dog whistle
You know,
to me.
the worst criminals, the worst gangs are MS-13. And under the Barack Hussein Obama administration, they were unable to take them out because their countries where they came from wouldn't take them. And I learned
Why did they not call him Joseph Robinette
Biden? My first
Biden?
day, I actually say. But I learned about it, and I said, which countries? And it was Honduras and Guatemala. It was El Salvador, some others. And I said, how much do we pay them? Sir, you pay them $750 million a year. That's a lot of money. I said,
Barack Hussein Obama isn't a joke.
We're not paying them anymore because they wouldn't accept them. They would put planes on the runway.
That's actually his real
so when our plane would come out
name.
with these gang members from MS-13, the plane couldn't land because other planes were on the runway. The buses weren't allowed to get through their borders because they had stronger
And Republicans
borders
love saying the whole thing.
We don't have borders. They had borders. Other countries that we defend have borders. We defend other
That's why
countries'
we're
borders, but we don't
scored the
defend
100
our
bits. Thanks.
But these countries,
Guys
and
like
I
a
got
Woody
to
doll.
know all of the presidents.
Yeah, Trump
prime
has 6
ministers.
cool
I got to know
sayings.
them all.
This has been known.
And I said, all right, stop payment of the $750 million a year. They won't take them. And you could not get anybody back in because they sent them out. They didn't just come out. They sent them out. They don't want the bad ones. They want to keep their good ones. They don't want the bad ones. These are gang members that will kill, and they like using knives because a knife is more painful than a gun. You've read the stories. MS-13, these are savages. They say, oh, please don't use that name. They're people. No, they're not. These are savages. And so we went along, and I said, stop.
Trump is making up a guy and getting mad about him right now.
And I get a call the next morning from
But
the
with some
presidents
racial
of
undertones
every
to it.
country that we're talking about.
Because we're talking
Sir,
about
there seems
street
to be a
gangs.
misunderstanding. What's the problem? Is there anything we can do? Yeah, you're not taking your MS-13 gang members back that you sent to us. In the caravans, I love the name. I came up with it. I love the name. The caravans, thousands and thousands of people. And in those caravans, you have some rough people. I said, you're not taking them back. Well, we didn't know that this was a problem, sir. Is there anything we can do? I said, yeah, take them back. We would be glad to take them back, sir. They took them back. I still didn't give them the $750.
We take it back. We took them. Then we take it.
And by the way, now Biden wants to give them $4 billion. They were happy with $750, and now they want to give them $4 billion. Somebody someday is going to explain that one to me. It actually makes you rage with anger when you hear that. They wanted $750 so badly, and now they're getting $4 billion. We will wage war upon the cartels and stop the fentanyl and deadly drugs from killing 200,000 Americans per year.
Wow, that's almost like.
And I will ask
4 years of that,
for
and that's like one COVID.
ensuring that drug dealers and human traffickers, these are terrible, terrible, horrible people who are responsible for death, carnage, and crime all over our country. Every drug dealer during his or her life on average will kill 500 people with the drugs they sell, not to mention the destruction of families. But we're going to be asking everyone who sells drugs, gets caught selling drugs, to receive the death penalty for their heinous acts.
Yeah, I was about to pause the video and ask if he if he brings up the death penalty for drug dealers. This isn't the first time he's done this. He's been mentioning this for months. He's just crazy. Whenever people are largely wanting to come back off of being so harsh on drug sentencing, here's Donald J. Trump saying, "Let's kill them." I think we should I think that we should kill drug dealers. Wow. War on Drugs 2, lethal tempo.
It's the only way.
We don't need any more
blue ribbon committees. We don't need. I don't like to say this, and I don't even know if the American public is ready for it. And a lot of
another one on that note is very Republican Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt was bragging about how many low-level drug offenders that he released from Oklahoman prisons during his term whenever he was campaigning for governor of Oklahoma. And here we have on the opposite side, here we have this Republican saying, "Let's kill them." I think we should kill the drug dealers.
My people say, "Please don't say that, sir. That's not nice." They kill 500 people each on average. And if you don't do this...
Every drug dealer kills 500 people.
President Xi, I said, "President, do you have a drug problem?" No, we don't. He looked at me like I didn't know what I was doing. He said, "No, we don't have a drug." "How come you don't have a drug problem?" He said, "Quick trial." What is a quick trial? I sort of knew. What is a quick trial? That's where, if you get caught dealing drugs, you have an immediate and quick trial, and by the end of the day, you're executed. That's a terrible thing. But they have no drug.
Oh, and then we applaud. Yeah, what is I don't like that part of the Constitution actually. Let's get rid of that part where you have the right to a fair trial.
Drug problem. The only drug problem they have is they make the fentanyl that comes into our country, and I had him stopping it. And then when I was
Brandon.
young, nobody ever mentioned it to him again. We were stopping it. That was way down, that number, but they send it in. But they don't have a drug problem. Other countries like Singapore has no drug problem. No drug. You ask them, they don't even know what you're talking about when they say drug problem. They don't even know what you're talking about. They have no drug problem. Now, why should they sell there and risk their lives every time they sell when they can come to the United States and nobody even cares? They can do whatever they want to do and become rich. It's a disgrace. So if you want to get rid of that and also bring down your level of crime, probably 75 or 80%, that's the only answer. No more blue ribbon. I refuse to create them anymore. They were just a joke. It was New York people wanting to be on a committee for publicity reasons. No more blue ribbon committees. That's the only way you're going to solve the problem. And I hope politicians are listening because they should do it quickly. Joe Biden has also proven that he is committed to indoctrinating our children, even using the Department of Justice against parents who object. It's a terrible thing. It's so sad.
He did it to me, folks. The Department of Justice is bad.
When I'm in the White House,
they raided my home and took my papers that I took from the White House.
As they were. Radical
say litter boxes.
And gender insanity. Or if they do that, they will lose all federal funding, but we'll get them to stop.
Gender insanity. We're going
and I will
crazy
be the president
this
who
time.
finally fixes education in America. We were doing great. We were starting to really get it right. We will not let men, as an example, participate in women's sports. Is that okay? No men. No men.
Overdose-related drug deaths spiked massively starting in 2016. Massively?
My people tell me, "Sir, that's politically incorrect to say." I said, "That's okay. I'll say it anyway, if you don't mind." We've had tremendous tremendous problems. And you know, it's very unfair to women, just very, very unfair. We will defend the rights of parents, and we will defend the family as the center of American life. But who would think, standing up here 10 years ago, 15 years ago, that a politician, and I don't like to think of myself as a politician, but I guess that's what I am. I hate that thought.
50,416
But that a politician would be up
799 in
saying,
2020.
we will defend parental rights. Of course you're going to defend
Is 2020 an outlier compared to 19?
Mention this. Who would think it even should be a subject to be talked about? We have to defend parental rights. Can you believe this?
Parental rights.
As Commander-in-Chief, I will get Biden's radical left ideology out of our military, and I did.
I would assume
And
a lot of
first day,
statistics for
they put it back.
2020
They signed an executive order and they put it back. It
in
was gone.
2021
We will
in
abolish
particular
every Biden COVID
would be
mandate and rehire every patriot who was fired
way
from
out of the
our
ordinary
military with an
accordance with
apology
COVID.
and full back pay. Thank you.
What the fuck
And
did
they
you just say?
deserve an apology. And as Commander-in-Chief, I will get Biden's radical left ideology out of our military, and I did. I did. And in the first day, they put it back. They signed an executive order and they put it back. It was.
Oh, we're talking about no trans in Army.
We will abolish every Biden COVID mandate and rehire every patriot who was fired from our military with an apology and full back pay.
Wow, where are you gonna get the money?
Thank you. And they deserve an apology, and they deserve full back pay, and they'll get it. And unlike Biden possibly getting us into World War III, which can seriously happen, I will keep America out of foolish and unnecessary foreign wars, just as I did for 4 straight years. We will again have peace through strength. That's all it is.
Are they being against trans people in the military? Don't the win
As
dead?
events overseas.
Well, if you're in the military, you get a bunch of
to protect our
you get a
people
bunch
from
of
the
benefits from it.
threat of nuclear weapons and hypersonic missiles, the United States must also build a state-of-the-art, next-generation missile defense shield.
So,
we need it.
being allowed to join the military is a good thing because it is a very easy way of upwards social mobility.
Nuclear. We have to have it. We need a defense shield, and we have to do it. And we actually have the technology, and we're going to.
That's why.
Just as I rebuilt our military, I will get this done. I rebuilt our entire
poor rural areas often join the military.
When I got there, we had jet fighters that were 48 years old. We had bombers that were 60 years old. We had bombers where their grandfathers flew them when they were new. And now the grandchild is flying the bomber, but not anymore. But as I have said before, the gravest threats to our civilization are not from abroad, but from within. None is greater than the weaponization of the justice system, the FBI, and the DOJ. We must...
Dude, how do we juggle cops good, FBI bad? How do we do this? I love it whenever poor people get prosecuted for crimes, but not whenever I get prosecuted for crimes by the FBI.
Conduct a top-to-bottom overhaul to clean out the festering rot and corruption of Washington, D.C.
Yeah, get the corruption out this time. Everyone knows it takes at least 5 years to weed out corruption.
Thank you. And I'm a victim, I will tell you. I'm a victim. Think of it. The FBI offered $1 million to Christopher Steele who wrote the fake dossier, if he will lie and say that the fake dossier was true. And he refused to do it, so it had to be really fake.
So fake,
and
folks.
Then they hired somebody,
the fakest,
Demchenko, for $200,000 a year to focus on Trump and to get Trump and other things, including the raid of a very beautiful house that sits right here. The raid of Mar-a-Lago, think of it. And I say, why didn't you raid Bush's place? Why didn't you raid Clinton? 32,000 emails. Why didn't you raid Clinton's place? Why didn't you do Obama, who took a lot of things with him? We will dismantle the deep state and restore government by the people.
Dismantle the deep state. I say as a former president.
To further drain the swamp, I will push for a constitutional amendment to impose term limits on members of Congress. It's time.
Obama and his lots of things. The emails. Constantly talking about our emails.
And I will ask for a permanent ban on taxpayer funding of campaigns, a lifetime ban on lobbying by former members of Congress and cabinet members. No, I see what they make. They leave the White House or they leave Congress, and they're paid millions and millions and millions of dollars a year.
What if we just get rid of lobbying entirely?
We want a ban on members of Congress getting rich by trading stocks with insider information. And many of our great members agree with that. They actually agree with that. And of course, we will do whatever it takes to bring back honesty, confidence, and trust in our elections.
That is already banned.
To eliminate cheating.
Yeah, but
I will immediately demand voter ID, same-day voting, and only paper ballots.
Only. I love this. I mean, like, the appeal here is that this is how it used to be, so that makes it good. But it's not like. Imagine that you are you're taking an exam for college, right? And you fill out a Scantron, and that shit gets fed through a computer and graded. Do you not trust the results then if your fucking tired ass 2 hours of sleep TA is sitting there grading shit at 6 in the morning the night before? And you trust that motherfucker to get it right over the Scantron machine? And also, I think that saying same-day voting only, I think that isn't far enough. I think the polls should be open from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., and all votes have to be cast in that span of time. I think 1 day is too long. I think it should be 1 hour. So that way we can really ensure that the results are legitimate, you know?
Only paper ballots.
Computers, folks, what's the deal? I don't even know how to work those things.
France just had an election. 36 million people voted. It was all done by 10 o'clock in the evening. No complaints. You had a winner, you had a loser. The loser went home.
36 is way lower than our numbers, Buckaroony.
But he was happy, but there was no complaints. And if there is a complaint, you check it out, and you can fix it very easily. You can find out what's going on. No,
I'm sure there were no complaints.
Same-day voting, voter ID.
In the French election.
And we want all votes counted by election night.
How? What? It's... We want to... So we're saying we vote on We vote on the day of, and we count it that night. we count as they're coming in. We're counting hundreds and millions of handwritten paper ballots. If only there was some kind of math machine that could compute things for me.
They spend all of the money for machines and all of this stuff, and they end up 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later. By that time, everyone forgot there was even an election. It's horrible. And this doesn't happen.
They forgot there was an election, and that means they don't even remember what they voted on.
We do. It's horrible what's happening with
it's been 2 weeks.
Election and election process. And I'll get that job done. That's a very personal job for me. I take that very personally.
I lost.
But this is
I lost
just
because
the
it wasn't
beginning
rigged
of our
enough in my
national
favor.
Greatness agenda, and that's what we call it, a national greatness agenda, because our country can be greater than it ever was. Our country was great. Our country's not great anymore. Our country's a laughingstock right now. But our country can be greater than it ever was before, by a lot. There will be more, much more to come in the months ahead. There are so many things we can do. Many of them are not even hard to implement. The journey ahead of us will not be easy. Anyone who truly seeks to take on this rigged and corrupt system will be faced with a storm of fire that only a few could understand, right? I happen to have some children in the first row. They understand.
Some children in the fertile.
My one boy, stand up, Eric.
Damn, only one camera angle. SMH.
I think he got more subpoenas than any man in the history of our country. So unfair. Al Capone, you all heard of the great gangster? Al Capone got far less. Billy the Kid got almost none. Jesse James, no. Eric Trump got more subpoenas. He's a PhD in subpoenas. They come from Congress. And I appreciate the job you do and the abuse that you've taken. I really do.
I appreciate the abuse.
And it hasn't been a joyride for our great First Lady either. It hasn't been a joyride. Stand up, honey.
My favorite thing about Melania was whenever she was getting real pissy about having to decorate and put on festivities for Christmas that one year.
I go home and she says, they do love her. I go home and she says, you look angry and upset. I say, just leave me alone. I got...
Rise
Hasn't
Minions.
been the easiest
Speaking of
thing,
Minions,
she's been a great first
you guys
lady.
remember that one Halloween where Trump and Melania were handing out Halloween candy to trick-or-treaters for a photo op?
We will be
a minion
resisted
showed up and he
by
just
the
put the candy on top of the minion's head.
The establishment, the media, the special interests, the globalists, the Marxists, radicals, the woke corporations.
The basket was way down at the
weaponized
ground,
power
and
of
like
federal
the minion's
government,
head was, you know, like
colossal political
was like
machines,
abdomen
the tidal
level.
wave of dark money,
So he
and
just said,
the most dangerous domestic censorship system ever created by man or woman. The most dangerous system we've ever had. We will be attacked. We will be slandered. We will be persecuted just as I have been. I mean, I have been, but many people in this room have been. But we will not be intimidated. We will persevere. We will stand tall in the storm. We will march forward into the torrent. And we, in the end, will win. Our country will win. We will win.
And that's on God. This time we're winners for sure.
My fellow Americans, we will join together and reverse this staggering American decline, and it is staggering indeed. and we will again restore the spirit of our nation. And then we must build and raise up a legacy that will stand without equal in the entire history of the world. With your help, we will create communities where our children will grow up safe and strong, and a nation where they will grow up free, prosperous, and well. We will reestablish the principles of hard work and merit and end the scourge of homelessness that is plaguing our beleaguered Democrat-run cities. We
I'm
will
gonna
heal
solve
our divisions
homelessness.
and bring our people back together through.
I wonder what his proposed solution for helping remedy homelessness is. I don't think it's get them a home. It's probably arrest them and put them in jail. Cause then they're off the streets, folks. They're not now. Then they're in jail, not on the streets. You don't have to look at them because you don't go to the prison.
Incredible success. We will defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We will expand the frontiers of human knowledge and extend the horizons
Dallas,
of
a
human
Democrat city.
achievement.
Like every
And
city
we
is a
will
Democrat
plant
city.
our beautiful American flag very soon. on
Every
the
large
surface of
metropolitan
Mars,
area
which
is a
I
Democrat
bet
city.
so. But we need everyone involved. We need everyone's help. We need to look out for one another. We need to be friends. And we need every patriot on board. Because this is not just a campaign. This is a quest to save our country. Talking about saving our country.
It needs saving.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I am asking for your vote. I am asking for your support. And I am asking for your friendship and your prayers on this very incredible but dangerous journey. If our movement remains united and confident, then we will shatter the forces of tyranny and we will unleash the glories of liberty for ourselves and for our children and for generations yet to come. America's golden age is just ahead. And together,
I promise.
we will make America powerful again.
Combo starter.
We will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again.
He has the choreography this
We
time.
will make America safe again. We will make America glorious again. And we will make America great again. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Thank you.
Wow, look at that. Yeah, that was the hits. He just played the hits. All right. Now for the video that Dad posted in my chat yesterday. I have no idea what the fuck this is, but it looks pretty funny. And also, for the person asking if it's going to be Trump versus Biden again in 2024, there is first a primary election to determine who will be running against Joe Biden. And Trump will have to win that before he is able to run against Joe Biden. And it kind of seems like he won't win, at least with people's current mentalities. His party's kind of turning on him. Prager? No. I have no idea what it is. But Dad posted it in the chat and told me to watch it.
We are doing every single day through our digital media, through our field program, through our events, is we are dedicating ourselves and our staff and our students and our activists for a full revival of America. You see, this is something they've tricked us into believing, the media and the major cultural institutions.
Where is my president?
I don't know, son.
Let's make sure we get some facts correct here. They
Is that Dark Bush? Who was that? But the HW variety? No. Wow!
getting more votes than any sitting president in the history of our country by far. And now we may just have to do it again.
It's coming.
The body of Christ is hungry. We need brain.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound. Saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, but now I see. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound. Saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found.
It's the worm guy, Ted Cruz.
Was blind, but now I see.
That's the dance. That's the dance. FBI agent. Rhonda, get him.
Roger that. Let's go.
Great.
Hello everyone. I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to check out Emil Lark's Twitch channel and my own. We have a lot of fun interactive features on there. Anyway, I would like to thank the following legend tier patrons: Nikita McGay, DMC.
Okay. Great vid. Ugh. No movie today. I have no time. The Trump speech was too long. But there's always Christmas movies in the later.